the most of the races in our galaxy are humanoids. They're not exactly the same as we are. They're not put together exactly the same, but we're certainly first cousins. And you, if you were meeting one on the street, you'd never guess, unless you were very, very sensitive, that it was anybody except somebody from downtown or uptown or somewhere else. But when you start going outside the galaxy, then you get more insectoids, and you get the short grays and the tall grays and all these other forms that look different. And they're all part of the same creation, but they have evolved in different ways from different beginnings, and consequently don't look the same.
Now, I've read a few books and had a chance to talk with Dr. David Jacobs last year at the MUFON Symposium. And he writes books on hybrids. And he has worked with thousands of abductees with these incredible stories. And basically the synopsis is that there is a program for hybrids, and eventually they will be living amongst us. In your experience over the years, have you come across any information on that?
Well, yes and no. Yes, that this was really implied in the deal that was made between the United States and the Greys, that they could abduct a certain number of people. They haven't quite lived up to the agreement because they don't report what they do. But so they have been doing this, and some of the estimates of the number of people that they have abducted worldwide are just astronomical. And it gets you into the question of creating a new race, a new hybrid race with greater IQs than we have, and so on. And this has been going on, well, for quite a long while now. But this isn't the first time in the galaxy or the cosmos that this has happened, and certainly I think we are partly hybrids of a different sort. It's just that our genetic makeup is different than it was in the days of the Neanderthals, and probably different than it will be at some future time. And that seems to be the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. And so,
getting back to the Colonel Corso book, when you came out in 2005 and said UFOs are as real as the planes flying over top, does it make you feel good that you've got a little bit of vindication now that recently in the last month, documentation from Admiral Tom Wilson has come out with him saying back in the 90s that Corso's book is basically true?
Yeah, well, he's not the first one to say that. It was Michael Wolff, Dr. Michael Wolff, who in a radio broadcast in, I think it was 2000, who said that it was absolutely true. Well, I think absolutely is probably too good a word, but I would say substantially true, because I've never written a book or read a book that didn't have a typo or two in it somewhere, and maybe a slip or something. But it was to all intents and purposes true, which is what you want when you read a book. And I think that Corso's book met that criteria. I think that's the reason that my source, one of my sources, was willing to confirm that it was true, and that a lot of other people have since, including Philip Corso's son and others that were in the know. And certainly Paula Harris is very much of that opinion, having known Corso and worked with him and been very active in his promoting him. So yes, I think it's a good primer, because it gets you into a number of areas, but then you have to go on from there, because Corso was considering that the aliens were a threat, and he would probably modify that today and say one or two species are a threat. But most of them are not a threat. Most of them are friendly. They're our neighbors and are probably our relatives, and they want to help us. And they would have helped us certainly with medical problems and agricultural problems and all of these things if we had just been willing to give up our atomic weapons. Because this is the thing that they fear about us most, because the way the cosmos is constructed, it's a hole. And every time a bomb goes off here, it affects the whole cosmos, really. Just goes out in waves everywhere.
Two last questions. Second last one is going to be, with the atomic bombs going off, the testing, etc., and how the ETs were very interested in that. There were many reports at ICBM silos. The Bentwaters case, on one of those nights, they were buzzing the storage areas where the nukes were kept. So do you believe that they are certainly trying to step in, or were at some point and saying, you got to stop this?
I think it is their fondest hope that we will stop without intervention, because as I understand it, this is not the first time that the world's been faced with that dilemma, that there have been previous catastrophes. How many, I'm not exactly sure, but several. And they don't want us to have another one. And if they can stop us and keep the planet habitable, that would be their fondest dream, I do believe, because it's one of the nicest planets, I'm told, and one that they like to visit and sometimes maybe exploit some of its resources and this sort of thing. And so they don't want us to, one more time, duplicate what Mars did and get into a showdown that wound up destroying one planet and making Mars uninhabitable unless you went underground. So their stake in it is very high, and the frequency of visits increased very, very much, very substantially after the first atomic bomb was tested, and then again after the first atomic bomb was put off in Hiroshima on my birthday, unfortunately. And so they want for us, but we're stubborn. We're warfaring. We have a history of bloody wars, and we kill millions of people. And for some reason, there are a lot of people around who just think that that's the way to go, and that you protect yourself by having a bigger proportion of your national income go into armaments and into all other areas, including healthcare and education and all of the good things of life. And then ultimately, if you get a race going, which is going on at the present time, certainly, and a space race which has begun, and if it isn't stopped, if I say heaven help us, I guess I mean it literally, because I'm not sure that we have the brains to stop it ourselves.
You have a great following of young people. I'm sure you know this by now. The internet, and it's really remarkable. And I think what they glean from you is that you are essentially trying to save the world, and by exposing the cabal, the bank fraud, the fact that free energy is out there, zero-point energy, if we would be allowed to use it as public. And these are all things that if they can change, they can save the world. So to the young people, what would you say to them?
I would say you have to help save the world for your own use and benefit. And if you don't do it, no one will, because your elders are so entrenched in their ways that they will put their own financial benefits ahead of saving the world and ahead of saving your future. And that is wrong, morally and otherwise. So go to it and make sure that the word spreads that we have to do these things. We have to use zero-point energy right away. We have to convert the world economy from oil to zero-point energy immediately, hopefully in 5 years. But certainly the Paris account, that's political play. That's just for show. And you forget all that stuff and get on with the job. But it means a total revolution in the thinking, and it has to start with the young people, because it's certainly not going to start with the people who are running the show today.